Jack, we would like to welcome you here on the platform. Thank you so much for your valuable time and participation. We would love to know more about your experience and professional background. Over to you, Jack.
Hi, well, yeah, thank you for having me on. So I'm Jack Traube. I'm currently a junior at UC Berkeley, studying physics. Last summer, I was fortunate enough to do an internship as a customer success manager at Adobe, where I had a fantastic experience, an experience that I'm hoping I can share with you guys throughout this webinar.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jack, for the introduction. So, Jack, what is the role of a customer success manager?
So in my eyes, the customer success manager is the post-sales intermediary between the customer and the company. And there's two main jobs that the CSM or customer success manager has. And the first is customer satisfaction. Is a customer happy with the product they've got? Are they enjoying the use of it? Is it beneficial? And then the second and the most important is value realization. Is this product that we've sold to the customer, are they getting value out of it? Is it helping their company move forward? Is the technology working? And that's one of the big parts of being a CSM. Other important things about CSM, being a customer success manager, they range from, it's a job of many things. You've got to connect, be in charge of the internal ecosystem within a company, making sure that everyone's listening to you, making sure that you're getting all the valuable resources that are needed for the customer. And at the same time, it's also very important to understand the customer's company ecosystem, making sure you're reaching out to the correct people within the customer's company, that you know who the right people are, that you're reaching to not just the people that will be using the product, but to people who will be overseeing the product. So the VP level, making sure you have some sort of access to them as well is something that's very important as a CSM.
Fantastic. So, Jack, what is your typical day as a customer success intern?
A typical day as a customer success intern can vary hugely. But it normally start off, from my experience, I had a few projects throughout the semester, throughout my internship. And the projects range from looking at all the contracts that a customer had, and whether there'll be any overlap with them, to setting up Excel files, loads of different projects. But so I normally start off my morning with a project, and then I typically have a couple meetings where the actual CSMs would let me come sit in on meetings, hear their interactions with the clients, which was very valuable, as you learn a lot more from doing that than any other way. There's also a training section that we had. So there's an online training program which we'd follow. So I work on that so I can improve my knowledge of being a CSM and also get a really good understanding for the Adobe products and what we were selling to our customers. Because if you have that understanding, it's much more beneficial than helping your customer get value out of the product. And then my day would usually end with either a couple more meetings, or if I was fortunate enough, coffee chats with CSMs, so I could learn more about what they do.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the answer, Jack. So what was the most fun part of your internship?
I think one of the most fun parts of my internships was I was given the opportunity to go to a strategic business review for one of Adobe's for a customer. And that was an absolutely fantastic experience because I really got hands-on, seeing how we interface with customers face to face, the problems that they were having, and how Adobe was really working to sort out those problems. And there's even some technical experts that came in to really explain it to the customer. And to me, that was an absolutely fantastic experience that I was very fortunate to get.
Great. Thank you so much, Jack. So, Jack, what are the 3 tips to make your resume noticeable for customer success roles?
I see. So, tips for your resume. There's 3 main things. Is you need to have strong communication skills, / like an ability to present to an audience. because you're always presenting to your clients, to their organization. You're presenting internally your own company about how we're helping this client. So having that communication skills, or an example of those communication skills, is hugely important. Secondly is, I'd say, a leadership role, as it's your account, you own this customer, you're making sure they're getting the value out of the product, and thus you need to have leadership and be authoritative within your role. So any form of leadership experience is always beneficial. And then thirdly is teamwork. As a customer success manager, you're not just working with the client, but you're working with loads of different teams within your company, whether it's the engineering team, whether it's the sales team, the marketing team, any team. You have to have that connection to everything and be able to work well with everyone. So teamwork is another big thing that should be on your resume if you're looking for a customer success role.
Fantastic. So, Jack, what do you think are the 5 topics or subjects did you focus to prepare yourself for customer success internship interviews?
Yeah, of course. So my first thing I did was, as I was interning at Adobe, I really wanted to learn everything I could about Adobe. So I watched YouTube videos, scoured the website, scoured their websites, went on other websites, really learned about what they do, learned about their culture and whether I thought it would be a good fit for me, which it turns out it was fantastic. Secondly is I really wanted to dive into their products, because if I'm going to be a CSM, and I was actually a customer success manager in Adobe's Experience Cloud, which is more digital marketing and the ad stack. But I really wanted to understand what their products were and what they were selling to their customers. So I did a lot of research into that. So if I was asked anything about it, I'd be very confident in at least giving a high level overview. Obviously, they won't expect you to know everything about the product at all. In fact, they won't expect you to know too much, but having a little bit is always very beneficial. Thirdly, as I was working in digital marketing, I really wanted to understand what digital marketing was and the impact it's having on the world, worldwide, who the big players are in it. So I did a lot of research into that. Fourthly, I looked at Adobe's ecosystem, like who their partners were, which other companies help integrate Adobe's products to companies. So I could kind of see their more global ecosystem. And fifth and finally, I just looked into what are the key skills a CSM should have. And I made sure that I presented those in a correct way.
Thank you so much, Jack. So, Jack, we would love to know your viewpoint on what is the interview format of customer success internship. Like, how many rounds of interview are there? What type of interviews happen, like behavioral, technical, etc. So, what kind of a format does one have to go?
So the format, I'm sure it's dependent on companies, but in my case, I had 2 interviews. Both were behavioral interviews, as I'm not going to expect you to know all the technical details of the products you're working with. So it's just typical behavioral interview, ask me about myself, my strengths. I got asked quite a few times about examples of teamwork, leadership, why Adobe. So I really made sure I understood why I wanted to work at Adobe, made sure I came across as being passionate about it. And then so first interview, and then second interview was very similar, but it was more specific to the role I would be doing. And some of the questions, yes, they were behavioral, but they were more orientated toward a customer success. Unlike the first one, which is more about me and who I am.
Okay, thanks. Thank you so much for this answer. So what are the 5 most important questions asked in the interview for customer success internship?
So as I said, my main 2 are an example of teamwork, how you worked in a team, problems that your team had and how you got over those problems. And then there's another very related one to leadership, is what's an example of you being a leader? How did you work with the team? As a leader, did you experience any problems, and did you manage to overcome those hurdles? And if so, how did you overcome those hurdles? Another question asked was about why customer success? Why did I want to do customer success out of everything? And I think one important thing when asked that question is, best thing about being customer success is you get visibility to the technical side. At the same time, you get to work with customers and really understand their issues and really build on them. Say fourth and fifth questions. One, I'm going to count this as one, but obviously my strengths and weaknesses. I always think it's important to know your weaknesses as well as your strengths, obviously. And then the fifth question asked of me, I'd say the best one out of all the ones asked were why. Well, one specific for me is why I'm doing physics, which is always a question I get asked. But why your major? Why you're interested in that? How do you think you could apply your major to what we do as a CSM? So having answers for those questions is always very important.
Thank you so much, Jack, for the lovely answer. So here comes my next question. What are the 3 tips for students to make themselves prepare for career customer success role? If you can elaborate it.
Yeah, of course. So 3 tips for students to prepare themselves for creating customer success. First of all, as I've emphasized multiple times, is teamwork. You are as a CSM, it is your job to make sure that everyone is working well together internally so that you're supporting your customer in the best possible way. So again, you need to be able to have good relationships with, say, sales, marketing, the engineering team. By having these relationships, you can bring everyone together to, again, provide the best experience for your customer. And if you have the ability to do that and work with them all, you're going to be a great CSM. Secondly, again, is leadership, being able to reach out to all these people and be a leader in organizing them all together to work together and telling them how they need to work together and what the customer wants and the best way for them to do that. Third, leading off from that is obviously organization and communication. Those are the 2 big ones following from that. As you're going to be reaching out and working, not just with the customer's ecosystem, but your ecosystem, your internal kind of ecosystem, you need to be able to communicate so that everyone knows what they're doing. The engineering team needs to be able to work with the sales team to provide the best product for your customer, so on, so on. So by having that communication, organized communication, you have the ability, you'll be much more successful in being a good customer success manager.
Thank you so much, Jack, for the answer. So what are the three key skills required for customer success intern role?
Again, as an intern, it's harder for them to put you in front of clients at time because, again, you're an intern. But the 3 skills you can have to prepare yourself so that you are in the best shape when you get into that intern role is firstly being organized, being on top of your stuff, being on top of your emails, making sure you're getting your work done quickly and effectively. So I'd say obviously being organized. My second one is going to be personable. You've got to be a personable person, have great conversations with people, be easy to talk to, be a great listener. That's hugely important. Be a great listener, take things in. Don't just be the person to always be speaking. Listen, respond in a suitable manner. And as a CSM, being a great listener is a hugely important thing. As you're listening to the customer's problems, you're listening to what they want, what they do. In fact, most of your job is listening, and then you want to enact on it. So being personable by being a great listener, being outgoing, so that's a major thing. And the third is, it is very helpful to kind of have, I wouldn't say a technical understanding, but maybe in between technical and business, but kind of have have the ability to really understand the customer's problems from their point of view. Even as an intern, it's still really interesting talking to the customer success managers about their customers' problems and why they have these problems, and just learning from all these different cases. And we can build quite a big portfolio, and it's something that will stick with you forever. It can be beneficial in all types of roles, and it's hugely important in business. So again, understanding their goals and challenges, and having the ability to translate it in a way that can support your customer.
Great. So apart from this, Jack, what are some challenges involved with this role?
Challenges involved with this role. There's definitely multiple that I picked up on when I was there. The first is communication. As I said, communication is hugely important. But in such a big company, it can be really hard to communicate, not just with your own company inside, but also, well, firstly, with your own company. It's really hard to communicate with your own company, making sure that all these different business units within the company are doing the necessary jobs to support your customer, as you may be reaching out to over 20 people to sort out one problem. So communication is always an issue. And with the customer doesn't really owe you anything, you owe them something. So it's up to them when they want to reach out to you. When they've got a problem, you've got to be there to sort it out. So you've always got to be ready on the move and just be ready for any fires that could happen. Secondly is customer satisfaction. It's hard to always make a customer happy. There's always going to be some problem that pops up, no matter how fantastic the account is, how bad the account is. There's always going to be some sort of problem coming up. So again, you need to have the ability to enact on it. And that's a challenge because you never know when it's going to happen. It can come out of the blue. And secondly, adding on to that is customers aren't always the most pleasant at times. So it can be a bit of a challenge to deal with very unhappy customers. And my third, it is when there is a really unhappy customer, it is hard to listen to them. If there's a very unhappy customer being rude to you, you're not going to want to listen. But having the ability to just kind of sit there, listen to their problems, and then have a calm but intelligent response is a challenge, but it's something that is very important in a CSM role.
Fantastic. So here comes my last question, Jack. What factors do you consider while selecting employers for customer success internship?
Yeah, for me, it's quite an interesting question because it's actually something I'm looking at right now. I'd say what factors I'm considering is whether they're in the industry that I find interesting. I find digital marketing very interesting. I think it's something on the forefront of technology. So that was something that was very important to me. Secondly, I look at the kind of customer culture, whether I think I would fit into that, whether I could add to that culture and, well, just get really involved within it and be happy there. I'd say my third is whether I think their product is actually beneficial and actually a good product out there. I don't want to be a CSM for a product that I think is absolutely useless, as I'm sure the customer won't be particularly happy at times. So I like to make sure it's a very strong, very beneficial product that the customer could get a lot of value on, if they were to use it.